Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I am so sorry it's been like 4 years. It's been tough to be a single mom by choice and trying to find the time to film and edit. So clearly I've failed at continuing this channel, but I've set a goal for myself, like if I can even just film like once a month or something going forward. I do want to continue to connect with this community. By the way, if you're new here, my name is Sarah. I started documenting my journey to become a single mother by choice. I was also diagnosed with endometrial cancer in the process and PCOS. So my videos so far have been all about all three of those topics. So I would love for you to subscribe and follow along if you haven't already. For those of you who religiously followed my journey and throughout pregnancy, I just wanted to thank you guys so much for reaching out to me on social media. I've connected with so many of you. And for years now, I've been, communicating with a lot of you, and it's awesome. So, so many of you have requested that I do an update video, so here I am. I would love to talk about my birth story finally. I'm pretty sure I'm probably gonna forget parts of it, but let's just dive right in. So the morning of my C-section, just a reminder, or in case you're new, I was diagnosed with vasa previa at my anatomy scan, which is where the fetal blood vessel is covering the cervix, so you cannot have a vaginal delivery. So I had to have a C-section scheduled 4 weeks early at 36 weeks. I had to actually push for that. They wanted to do it even earlier. They wanted me to get admitted into the hospital earlier than that and live at the hospital for like a month. So I was able to advocate for myself and go in twice a week for monitoring appointments and able to stay home. So when I went in, that day I turned 36 weeks, I went in and I just remember the thing that sticks out to me, like when I first got there, is the nurse could not put the IV in. Like it took her, I am not exaggerating, it took her like 20 to 30 minutes. And it was the weirdest place too. It was like right here. So yeah, she just like struggled and struggled. And when she put it in, like it was hurting, and I could tell that like it wasn't really in that far, like it was like sticking out. And sure enough, when I got into the operating room, the anesthesiologist looked at it and gave me one in my hand because he said that one was terrible. So there was that. Another thing I remember is when I was getting my spinal, so I'm on the operating table, hunched over, and all I hear behind me is, no, not there, no, not there. They were freaking training somebody on me, which I was not cool with. They didn't even ask me, because I probably would have said, no, let's just have the expert do it. But whatever, they got it in and it was successful. I immediately, my legs went numb immediately, laid me down. And I just remember it was just such a bizarre feeling. Like you could feel the pressure, but no pain. And then when they got Graydon out, which I haven't actually talked to you guys. I know I had my name reveal video that I put out. But that's one thing I did want to, maybe let's pause this story and I can talk just really quickly about how I named Graydon. Those of you who follow me on Instagram, I had a whole post about it, so you can always go find it there. But basically on my mom's side, my grandma Grace, I really wanted to honor her, and she was one of 7 children. Her siblings always called her Gray for short, and I really wanted to name my son Gray, but I felt like that was too short of a name to be like a standalone name. So I'm like, and I didn't want to do Grayson because Grayson is a very common name. I didn't want him to be one of like several Graysons in his school someday. So I thought about it for a while, and my grandma actually lived on a street like the street that like I grew up going to visit her in. She lived there, I think, like over 40 years. My mom grew up in that house. And it was like the coolest house on the coolest street with like this big willow tree in the backyard. I just loved it. And the street name was Graydon Drive, Graydon. So like Grayson, but with a D instead of an S. So I was like, wow, I wonder if that's a name. Because I didn't want to like name my son something that wasn't like a real name. And I looked it up and it is. And like the most notable Graydon is actually a comic book character. I think it's a Marvel comic book character, Graydon Creed. And there's some others too, like other famous people that were named Graydon, but it's definitely a name, very, rare. But I wanted to be able to call him Grady for short. And then when he gets older, he can go by Gray. And it fits him so well. Anyways, that was a side note. So when they took him out during the C-section, they showed him to me. Actually, no, they didn't even show him to me. I did not see him for I think 15 minutes because they had to take him over to a table to help him. I guess he was having a little bit of trouble breathing, but everyone was making it clear that like he was going to be okay. I heard him cry. And then when they finally brought him over, they laid him on my chest and it was just, and I just like lost it. Like as soon as I saw him, he was also like, my mom was in the room with me. And so was my doula who was taking pictures, but my mom like was going back and forth between like where Graydon was on the table and me. And she like ran over and I'll never forget. She was like, he's so cute. And then I forget if it was her or my doula showed me a picture of him that they took. And yeah, he just came out so perfect. Like he was adorable. He was 5 pounds, 1 ounce. And after they got him breathing, then he was totally fine. He didn't have to go to the NICU. There was one little incident when we were in the recovery room and he was nursing. I think he like nursed on one side, if I remember right. And then when he nursed on the other side, I went to pick him up and he just went limp and turned blue. And then a bunch of people rushed in and took him from me and took him over to another table for 10 minutes or something. That was really, really scary, but then he was fine again. And then he had low blood sugar. So when I was in the recovery room, the room that you stay in for the 3 days, not the first recovery room. I don't know the names of these rooms, but so they kept coming in to prick his heel and he had low blood sugar and they were pushing formula on me. And I definitely never wanted him to have formula. And I was producing tons of colostrum. My milk came in within a day and a half. Maybe I'll remember to insert some pictures here of because I was pumping like crazy. And so there was literally no reason that they should have pushed formula on me. I'm just I just can't stand our medical system in the US at all. That's a whole nother story. So yeah, then he was fine. And yeah, then after day 2, day 3, I was pumping so much and I kept bringing my containers of breast milk to the front desk for them to put them in the freezer. And they were all just oh my gosh, I've never seen a C-section mama produce so much milk so quickly. So that made me feel good. I really think that the main reason I had success with that is because I stayed super hydrated with my electrolytes. All throughout pregnancy, I was drinking electrolytes. I have since found new electrolytes that I really like. Just Ingredients is the brand. Love, love, love their electrolytes. So was in the hospital for 3 days. They almost didn't let us leave because he went down to 4 pounds, 8.5 ounces, I want to say. And I just remember that being another thing too. The pediatrician that came in, they kept threatening to that, they were going to take him to the NICU if he lost any more weight. He was fine. He was doing fine. And he kept gaining weight after that. So I was just so glad to be home. They did let us leave because I again advocated for myself. And recovery was rough. I feel like about a week after, like that's when I had my newborn shoot. And I remember like that was probably the first day that I like was okay, like up and walking around like without too much pain, which was perfect that it was, you know, the day of my photo shoot, and it wasn't too awful. But yeah, the binder that I wore was like, that was super important. Like if I didn't have that on, like especially showering, I felt like so loose, and like it just was really comforting, like to have it like squeezed like really tight, like everything in. So I wore that for a while, several weeks, I think. And yeah, I mean, I think like I breastfed him actually until almost 2.5. I think he was less than a month away from being 2.5 when we stopped, but he never had formula. And I absolutely love breastfeeding. Like I will say there was 1 week, I want to say it was like the 3rd week or so, that for some reason, every time he would latch, it was very, very painful, like excruciating. And I can 100% see why a lot of women give up very early, because every time he would latch, which was like every 2 hours, I would want to scream out in pain. And that lasted about a week, but like I was determined. I'm like, there's no way, like he is not having formula. Like I felt very strongly against that. Me personally, I am not like, if you for whatever reason can't breastfeed or couldn't breastfeed or something, I know everybody is different, and I respect every mother's journey. So like I'm not like projecting any of that onto anybody else, but that's just my personal belief. So and then let me think, he started sleeping through the night at about 3 months old, which was absolutely amazing, because I think it was like 2 days or a day before I had to go back from maternity leave. And I will say that was like the hardest week ever. I just felt like I was missing out on so much, even though I worked from home and my mom was here with him. So I could like take breaks and nurse him and be there with him. But like I was working. So I still felt like I was missing out on so much. I cannot even imagine if I had to put him in daycare or something, where like I wouldn't see him at all for hours and hours. But again, that's just me, and I know every mother's different. I had a friend who couldn't wait to go back to work because she wanted the breaks. And I know that a lot of moms are like that. I just wasn't like that. I wanted to be with him like all the time. He really is like the best thing that has ever happened to me. But I will say, and I feel like the amount of love that I have for him is just like, there's nothing that can prepare you for it, but there's also nothing that can prepare you for how hard it is. Like being a mother is definitely like a single mother is the hardest thing in the entire world. But it's worth it, 100% worth it. What else? I did baby-led weaning with him. He has never had baby food. He only had, real whole foods. I'm super crazy about organic and, everything in my household, non-toxic, no synthetic fragrances, all that. Like, I'm sure you guys, if you remember my old videos, like that I've always been like that, but I've gotten like a million times worse with grading. So, and yeah, he never had issues with choking or anything like that. There's actually research that babies are more likely to choke on purees or like rice cereal and things like that than they are with like baby-led weaning. So I would 100% recommend baby-led weaning. Lots and lots of reasons. I did no sugar before too, no refined sugar. So his second birthday was the first time, that cake was the first time that he ever had refined sugar. I still don't do any sort of food dyes, like natural food dyes are fine, but like no like synthetic food dyes, artificial. And yeah, like I said, I nursed until 2.5. I've never really like given him, like we don't keep like milk in the house really. Like it's like he doesn't drink, like he weaned himself, which was amazing. Like he went down to, 3 times a day and then 2 times a day and then once a day. And then just one day he just like, I asked him if he wanted milk and he said no. And it was really, really hard for me. I really wanted to make it to 3, but I couldn't have asked for a better situation for him to like wean himself and be the one that that ended that journey. So one other thing that I'm really proud of is he wasn't sick the entire first year of his life. He was never sick, not even once. Like no ear infection, no RSV, no cold, no runny nose, no fever. Like first year of his life, he was completely healthy. He did get sick from a family member. He got COVID the day after his first birthday. We all got COVID. And he was only sick for like 2 days. And at that time, he was eating quite a bit and nursing. But while he was sick, all he wanted to do was nurse, and he didn't want anything to do with food. So, but then he was fine. I've never given him Motrin or Tylenol or antibiotics. I think he's only been sick like 3 times total. He's almost 4. He'll be 4 in November. I can't believe it. Next month. My mom still watches him for the most part every day. Every now and then, my dad, when he's in town, he'll watch Graydon here in the morning, and then my mom or stepdad will come and pick him up. I did get a new job that pays much better than my other job. Another 100% remote position. This job is much more demanding and stressful, and I work more hours. But ultimately, like, I need to provide for my family, and this job makes it much easier for me to provide for me and Graydon. So I know this video is all over the place, but I just wanted to like update you guys and get all of this out. So I apologize that I'm like all over the place. I did want to mention Lily, which, yeah, she's over there. She is still here, obviously. She just turned 16-ish. Remember, she's, you know, a rescue dog, so I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, she's dealing with a like this chronic cough and like congestion, and has been for like 2.5 years now. And she definitely limps a lot, but she's hanging in there. She's still eating and happy, so that's good. Oh, in October of 2022, so when he was 11 months old, I had a DNC to make sure the cancer was still gone, and that came back negative, which is amazing. And as of this year, it's been 5 years that I've been cancer-free. And, you know, having a pregnancy is like the best preventative treatment for endometrial cancer. So I feel really confident that it's not going to come back. If I have another transfer, they are going to make me do an endometrial biopsy to confirm the cancer hasn't come back, which I don't know if you guys remember that video, when I had the endometrial biopsy for the Receptiva DX and the, what was it? There were 2 tests that I did. Can't even remember right now. Mom brain is real. That was the worst pain ever in the whole world. And I know it was only like 20 seconds. It was awful. And I said I would never do it again, but I'm going to have to. I am planning to have another transfer at some point in the next year. And I know Graydon's almost 4, and I know a lot of you probably think like, oh my gosh, that's such a big, you know, age gap. But honestly, like, I see things all the time on social media with the bigger age gaps and how sweet it is. And when they're 20 and 25 or 20 and 26, like from that point forward, they'll have their whole lives to be together and be in each other's lives. And 5 or 6 years is going to be nothing. So, and for my sanity, I don't know how single moms by choice do it with 2 like young, like 2 toddlers, or like, you know, like a baby and a toddler. Like I just could not do that. So I need Graydon to be older before I have another one. But I do plan on documenting that next year. So yeah, so let me know what kind of content you guys want to see in the interim before I, you know, next year at some point start my next transfer cycle, because obviously that will be all documented. But until then, just let me know what other content you'd like to see. Oh, I did want to mention, like, I did try to start dating. I went back on an app when Graydon, after he turned 1, and like on and off since then I've been trying, and as of January of 2025 I like swore it off completely. Like, it's just so hard out there, like it's so terrible. And like, when men comment on my videos like, you must be too picky, or like, I can't believe you don't want a father, like, of course I want a father, of course I want a husband. Like, I know some single moms by choice don't, like, they just don't like men and they want to do it themselves, and I get that, but like, I have always wanted a husband, and I would love to share like my next pregnancy, like having another baby with a man. But I've really lost most of my hope. I'm like maintaining a little bit, like a tiny, tiny bit. But I've pretty much given up because like, I don't go anywhere to meet anybody. I'm not doing the apps ever again. There's just been too many men that have lied to me, or like will lead me on and then like do a 180. And I don't know how I'm ever gonna like trust another man again with everything I've gone through. I've had so many bad like relationships, or men that have lied to me or done terrible things. So yeah, I don't know. But I feel like I thought that maybe it would be easier to date if I didn't have the pressure of like finding someone to have a child with. But I think like the older I get and the older anybody gets, like it just gets harder and harder. And I can't believe I'm almost 43. Like I said, I'm maintaining a little bit of hope, but yeah, for the most part, I've given up on that. So, but it has been so nice, like reconnecting with you guys. I'm sure, you know, when I post this, I'll be able to talk to some of you in the comments. And then again, I'd invite you all to follow me on Instagram, because I post about Graydon all the time on there. So hopefully within the next month, I'll post another video. But looking forward to connecting with you guys. Talk to you soon. Bye.